Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the trading table. Joined with me is Landon, and today we're going to be going over some of the biggest movers, some plays to watch, and more for the stock market. Looking at the S&P 500 heat map here, we can see that it was a quite neutral day, fair share of red and fair share of green. But overall, tech, very, very red, right? NVIDIA was down 3%, Microsoft 3%, Meta 1%, and so forth, right? Not the best day for tech here. Looking at SPY's chart, right, I did mention in a few videos ago that we were at some all-time highs and that, a pullback would be good here, right? You don't want to stay at all-time highs forever. That is very unhealthy for the market. And to create higher highs, a pullback is very healthy. And that's what SPY is doing right now. It's pulling back. We're back down to the 520 area, 521, 522, 523, those types of numbers, not seeing the threes anywhere here. So, SPY, it's good that it's doing this, and don't get too alarmed, especially if your long-term investment portfolio isn't doing too good right now, because, let's go to the 1 year, right? We're just on a constant uptrend, right? Whether it be weak or strong, we're going up. So don't panic. Nothing to panic about. This is all healthy, and this would have happened in due time either way. Looking at NVIDIA now, we can see that NVIDIA did have quite a downward move today, right? As we see in the heat map here, down 3.7%. This can be contributed to this news that came in. If I can find it, give me 1 second. So looking at this news here, I had to go to AMD to find it, but Big Tech develops an AI networking standard, but it's without NVIDIA. So, you got Meta, Microsoft, AMD, and Avgo, all without NVIDIA. And that could have been a contributing factor as to why NVIDIA's price dropped so much, right? Doesn't mean it's the complete reason why, but, definitely could be something that is driving down the price of NVIDIA. Am I concerned about this drop off? No, not at all, right? NVIDIA is just a powerhouse, and I'm sure it'll come back up sooner or later. But looking at our big money play from yesterday's video, KWeb, right? So we called it out yesterday, and it was down in the 28s, the low 29s. Today, we're in the high 29s. Play's doing a lot better, and, life is good over here at KWeb, right? If we look at BABA, BABA was, strengthening up today, like I said, right? I'm going to say this again for probably the 100th time, but, BABA pulls back, it will come up. The Chinese government is pumping the market full of money, and it's just kind of like a guarantee. And plus, the open interest for KWeb, if you don't know what that is, go ahead and watch last video, but it's insanely high for KWeb, right? The call open interest is double that of the put open interest. But looking at AAL real quick, this is another one of our big money plays. We are down again, right? But it is staying above, our break even here. There's just more news coming out over and over again that's just hammering American Airlines. And it's not looking good for him, right? The CEO is trying to admit his mistakes and whatnot, and JP Morgan's lowering price targets. You got a bunch of financial institutions lowering price targets on American Airlines. So that, and the amount of money that is being put into puts for this stock is absolutely insane, right? So American Airlines, great big money play to the downside here. Looking at AMD now, our bot called this out today, what I'm throwing up on screen right now. Unfortunately, we did get stopped out, right? And this is, a good example of how you should be emotionless while trading, right? We got stopped out around when it broke the 167.5 and consolidated, and our bot gave a stop loss notification. But you can't beat yourself up about it, right? Because if we held on to it, we'd be up over 60, 70%. But you know what? It happens, right? Move on. There's more trades to be made, and don't get too greedy. Respect your stop losses. I was down 20% and I cut it. The bot put out the stop loss, and our members cut it, right? You keep your losses small and your winners big, and you'll be fine. Even if when you cut, the play ends up working out, don't beat yourself up about it. It's not the end of the world. So just remember that. This is a really good example of good trading habits for AMD. Looking at Riot here, you can see here in Riot, insane run. I mean, per usual, Riot's just one of those stocks that, always has some crazy runs during the day, right? But if we look at Bitcoin and Riot here, I mean, you can kind of see it, right? 1230 right here, 1230 right here. Bitcoin starts rising, Riot starts rising. Riot was a little more extreme than Bitcoin. Bitcoin falls off, Riot falls off the edge of the earth. But Riot was a great thing that we were trading today. The bot wasn't really putting it out, and we weren't really putting it out because, this is a lot more risky, but we were in the voice channel discussing about it. So if you guys want to, get step-by-step plays, feel free to join our Discord. Me and Landon are in the voice channel like almost all day during the trading day, every single day. So definitely something to look at there. You could learn a lot, and it's a great time. We have a lot of fun. It's make jokes and whatnot, but yeah. Looking at CGC now, they reported earnings, and it did good and then kind of, fell off a little bit, right? So if you played this momentum, congratulations. I actually, not going to lie, I've been saying I was super excited for CGC all week, and then I completely forgot about it this morning. So, kicking myself about that, but it's all good, right? We'll go to our earnings a little bit later. But CGC, their earnings came in bad. But the stock still went up. Like I said, you should never gamble earnings because stuff like this happens all the time, right? Earnings come in bad, stock goes up. Earnings come in good, stock goes down. You never really know with earnings. There's so much technicalities to it on why it can go up or go down, or it could just do this where it goes up and then just sells off, right? And then goes relatively back to the price it was yesterday before they reported earnings. But CGC could be a good place to pick up some shares right now. Wouldn't be too opposed to it. If we go to the 1 month here, we can see it is pretty down compared to when the DEA said they were going to reschedule MJ. So, CGC, great stock to look at here. Looking at cost here, we can see that, they reported earnings. It hasn't come into TradingView yet, but not looking too good for cost here right now. I'm sure it'll probably end up recovering. Who knows, right? But I'm keeping this one on the radar. I'm not going to forget like I forgot with CGC. I'm keeping costs on the radar tomorrow to make some trades, right? Earnings normally brings volatility. And as you can see here, it's bringing some volatility, right? And the best thing that day traders like is volatility. You want your prices to move, hopefully in your favor. So I'm going to be watching costs tomorrow, hopefully to the upside. But, I'll play it either way, right? Looking at AFRM now, or Affirm Holdings, we did have a day trade on this today. Looking at the chart here, you can see that Affirm is pretty volatile, right? And our bot called out some 29 calls expiring 5/31/2024 as kind of a scalp play. It called it out at 11:56, right? It did kind of drop here, but it worked out pretty nicely. And one of our favorite members, Master P, shout out to Master P. He didn't hop in it, but it was on his watch list because this is an experimental feature. So we didn't really recommend going into this, but it did end up working out pretty nicely. So all good over there at Affirm and with our new bot update. Right. Jumping to Landon now for some big money plays.
Thank you, Andrew. So for our first one today, we have ticker symbol MRUS. It's a call option contract at a strike of 60 with an expiration of 7/19/2024. The total premium count here is 613K and a total volume of 1.85K. I'm really liking this one. Definitely eye up some calls for this one. And then for our next one, we have ticker symbol SBUX. This is also a call option at a strike of 82.5. This one's a little further out. The expiration is 1/17/2025. The total premium count here is 740K and a total volume of 1.47K. I'm actually really liking this one because I'm a big fan of Starbucks. There's a Starbucks almost everywhere, so that's why I really like Starbucks at the end of the day. And then for our final one, we have ticker symbol GS. This is a put option contract for a strike price of 450 with an expiration of 7/19/2024 and a total premium count of 852K. and a total volume of 647. The volume's not quite there yet. I'm not loving that volume, but it's also because, the stock is so expensive. So there's not going to be a whole lot of volume moving it. Um, but yeah, just keep that in mind at the end of the day. And then going over one of our past big money plays, ONON. Um, Today we saw a little bit of a jump in the beginning of the day, and then it kind of dropped, and then chopped out the rest of the day. I would go ahead and take profit if you guys are still in there. Um, but yeah, it's really up to you guys at the end of the day.
Yeah, Landon. On, if you guys entered when we called it out, I mean, these contracts are up like 80% or something like that. So, you know, scaling out was always a good decision. You should always be scaling out, as you go. Don't just hold like 25 contracts of this to 120%. That's very, very risky and not the smartest move. But yeah, Starbucks, really good play here. Really liking that Starbucks play, but honestly, for these big money plays, you want to be careful. There's not really a lot of premiums coming in, right? So there's not a whole lot backing them, and the open interest for these are not that high, right? Big money tends to quiet down a little bit when there's a lot of volatility in the market. And if we go to the VIX here, which is the volatility index for the S&P 500, 14 is not anything crazy, right? Like if we go out and zoom out here, we can see that during COVID, right, at the very start of COVID, VIX was at 85. Like that is very, very high. You know what I mean? Like that's dangerously high. The only other time it was that high was when the market crashed. So, but for the short term, the VIX being, relatively high, on the month too, definitely be careful here. And that's also why big money is being careful, right? A lot of volatility, not a whole lot of certainty, a lot of fear in the market right now. So just, be careful these next few days as the VIX is relatively high. Looking at our earnings report here, right? We had Best Buy before open today. CGC, of course, we went over. Costco, Dell, MRVL. They did report, and they are down. Dell also down. Wow, quite a bit here. I actually like to take a look at Dell's chart real quick. That was a pretty insane move. Yeah, as you can see, Dell here is down about 13%, right? So let's keep an eye on Dell tomorrow as well. Going to be adding this one here to the watch list real quick for tomorrow. I kind of, didn't expect this from Dell, right? Dell is a pretty good company, but, TradingView doesn't have their earnings on there. But as you can see, their earnings weren't too crazy. That could contribute to why they were dropping, as the stock price was relatively high at close, like 170, and it was probably hyped up as well. But Dell, definitely put that on the watch list, right? A reminder, big reminder, tomorrow at market open, an hour before market open, we have core PCE month on month and core PCE year on year. This will move the market, okay? So if you're holding any plays, just be very, very wary, because this can, move a lot of things, and it's very important for inflation rates and, the stability of the economy. So if that PCE comes in hot, right, we probably see our AAL play do really good, and even maybe our KWEB play do good, because, that'll just increase the VIX and put more fear into the market. So just be careful tomorrow, guys. A lot going on. But that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Trading Table. Be sure to check out our free Discord. Link is in the description, where we call out all of our banger plays. You guys can get the news first. And this has been Andrew and Landon. We'll see you guys tomorrow.